Hi, my name is Sarah Morrison, and I am a Zumba instructor, personal trainer. I teach a lot of different classes. But this video is all about cueing, especially in a Zumba class. Some tips on cueing. You could definitely apply these to all group exercise classes or formats that you lead, but definitely focusing on Zumba because it is a different style format. They actually don't encourage verbal cueing. They encourage it all to be nonverbal, which is different it's one of the only formats that is like that. And it's a great reason because it feels more like a party when someone's not talking and the music is just stopped and people are just dancing and smiling. But here's some tips on what I do. So take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Hopefully you can pick up just a couple ideas from this. So at the facility that I teach at, when Zumba was first brought here, it wasn't by me, it was by another instructor, and she went ahead and just started verbal cueing with it. It's something that people at this facility are really used to, as someone having the headset on and being able to lead them through the class. So I do incorporate verbal and nonverbal cueing into my Zumba classes. I definitely do a lot more nonverbal than verbal, but let me start with just verbal cueing. If you do feel comfortable doing that in Zumba and want to mix it up, here's some good tips on that. So if you're going to do verbal cueing, you want to make sure your cues are quick. You're not yelling like, merengue march facing the window and go. You're like, that's just so wordy and it's going to get lost in the music and take away from the fun. So have quick cues like march or shimmy or shiny. Like, your class will get to know if you're consistent with your cue. The music repeats. You might do the same 4/8 counts a couple times in a Zumba routine. When that music comes along, it's that same rhythm. And if they know march means go into this certain section, like, that's just going to become habit. So keep your cues, your verbal cues, very short. I actually use a lot of the microphone just for cheering people on sometimes in class and shouting their name, and the verbal cues I have are really, really short. And then make sure you start cueing it on 5. So what does that mean with the 8 counts of Zumba? There's an 8 count that you're probably hearing in the music that you're doing your choreography to. Don't wait until 7 or 8 to say the cue. You've got to give them some warning. So try to go for 5. So if you're doing your moves, you're doing like a merengue march, and you're going to turn after the march, and you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you turn. You want to go in your head 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn is now. Go. Okay, like, start the cue on 5. Don't start it on 7 because then everyone's always going to be late. So give them a heads up by trying to go for 5 in your head. Okay, so nonverbal cueing. Nonverbal cueing is huge in Zumba. Maybe you face your class, maybe you don't. I don't most of the time. Sometimes I turn around and mirror them, but in our studio we have mirrors so I can see everyone, and I find that it's easier for them to follow me because you always have those people who want to make it harder, who are mirroring you but realize you're doing the right arm and they're doing the left, so they do left with you. So sometimes it's just easier to turn around and face the same way with some of those moves. But definitely have eye contact. I would say eye contact is the most important because then they feel connected to you. You can just say so much through your eyes. Like, if it gets bigger, you're doing awesome, like, keep up the energy, looking to a certain side, like, stuff like that can let them know, hey, now we're moving this way. So have eye contact with your participants, whether it's through the mirror, looking and smiling at them, or if you're facing them, looking around the room and making eye contact. That's going to make them feel really connected and just follow you better in general. So have eye contact, definitely. You want to have big motions. So you're always going to have those classes where you're doing something. I'm just going to use the merengue march because it's easy and you can't really see me in this video, but you can tell I'm going like this, where you're going to move and you go like this and you point, and then you see like a couple people like point because they think that's the move. Don't worry, they'll get used to it. They'll realize that's just you cueing, but be like huge with your moves. And you're like an actor. You've got to get into it. There's just one fun routine that I do where we always walk to the side, and then the third time we do it, we like run to the side, and it goes fast. So as I point, I'm like, you know, I get into it. I'm like, we're about to go fast. Like, be goofy and big with it, and they'll really understand it. Now, you've got to be consistent with whatever nonverbal cues you choose. Okay, keep it the same each time. I have a salsa routine where, sorry, it's just easier to do examples, where we start with just a big arm that comes out. The music changes, so we're actually doing like a salsa step and like getting into it. And on 5, once again, 5 comes back, the 8 comes back to end. But by the 5th count and the 8th count, I go like this, and they know, okay, we're going back from the top. They know exactly what that means because you're consistent with it. So be consistent with your nonverbal cues. And another big nonverbal cue that I do, so make them big, make them consistent. I always am like hitting my leg a lot because people very often get confused on the right and the left and end up on the wrong foot. So on that 5 count, if we're about to switch and go into like a front salsa, into a back salsa, and it's going to just be on my right leg, I'm like hitting and pointing to my right leg, and then we go. And with pivots, like showing the direction, like make it as big as possible and be consistent. You know, there's a lot of routines that have pivots in them that come out of a front to back salsa move. It's easy to go ahead and add a pivot to that. You know, keep that for your cue for a pivot for every single routine. Be consistent, not just in your routine, but in your whole class and your teaching format, because they will pick up on it. Yes, someone's first time to Zumba, they're lucky that they don't run into their neighbor. But by the 2nd or 3rd time, they're already picking up so much. And if you're consistent, that's going to be even faster. So consistency is really, really big. Have large motions, hit your leg, like be over dramatic. Something else, just random, that one of my participants said one time is, I love that you wear bright shoes. I was like, oh, thanks. Just thinking like maybe it was Zumba and she liked the bright colors. She's like, it makes it so easy to follow your feet. So I was like, sweet. Okay, I love my bright yellow, orange, and red and pink shoes, but it's also a bonus for her. At the place I teach, we don't necessarily have a platform where I'm up in the air, so sometimes it can be hard if you're in the back of the room to see what I'm doing with my feet. So just a thought, you know, I'm guessing most of you who are Zoom instructors rock some pretty bright colors anyways, but if you're not, maybe it's an excuse for you to get a new pair of shoes. I know you wanted one. And I've touched on this one a lot. You just have to be super expressive when you're doing nonverbal cueing. You've got to be huge, over dramatic, you know, act it out like your whole body is helping with the cues. You know, they see a change in your face, like there's a change coming, or like even just going like this, change coming, like they're going to start to pick up on that as long as you're consistent. Okay, so I hope that helped with cueing. You get better and better as you do it. So good news. Just have a plan and be consistent with it and give them time to adjust. So by 5, in that 8 count, you're cueing the next move because then they have time to move and they feel more successful and they have more fun. So I hope that helped. And hey, I love meeting other Zumba instructors. Shoot me a message on, or shoot me a friend request on Facebook. It's so fun to find other instructors all over the world and network with all of you. So I hope to meet you soon.